What's up, guys? We're back here with another video. We're going to be discussing the JJK Kaisen controversy and massive backlash after episode 4 of the third season came out, or episode 51. But before we get into that, I would really appreciate it if you guys would subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me, and it would promote me to make even better videos for you guys. So let's get into it. So AniTV official has stated that episode 4 got 9.8 out of 10 ratings overseas, with people quoting saying it's amazing animation, insane aura. That's all they're saying. However, in Japan, it's been receiving a lot of backlash despite these good numbers that are happening overseas. And you might be asking, why is that? So if you don't know, episode 4 is the episode where Maki, which is one of the side characters, she wipes out her own clan after the death of her sister. And this is because the Zenin clan was standing against everything that I guess the protagonists were aiming for. And also it was her sister's final wish after they killed her. But let's dive deeper into this. Fans argue over lost emotion and overdone action scenes. And I feel like this is a common problem that we see in a lot of shonen anime. Across Reddit, YouTube, and anime forums, episode 4 is being described as one of the most thrilling episodes in recent anime memory. Cinematic punches, slow motion, impact shots, detailed fighting animations that make every blow feel heavy. And we're actually going to compare this to an episode, or the last episode in this season, which is almost the complete opposite of this one. And the rating might actually shock you too. So one user on Reddit said, "This is peak shonen. The way Maki dominates Naya feels like pure cinema." So again, we see more and more of the style and intensity of the animation being praised, but here we see that the Japanese fans actually feel that the heart of the story is missing, in particular the emotional core of Maki's revenge. It is shaped, like I mentioned, over her sister's death and years of abuse inside the Zenin clan. And after watching it, I could also agree that it was kind of a bit more rushed or skipped through even. At the end of the day, it really shows what those audience care about, fights, which I think that's what Mappa was mainly focusing on too. Overseas fans are only seeing the animation and say amazing. They are ignoring the actual story. At the same time though, this is a shonen anime. Shonen anime are not known for the greatest stories, but they're more centered around the fight and mainly for that, predominantly teenage audience. So I could kind of understand both sides here. And then another common criticism is the pacing. Japanese viewers feel that quiet, reflective moments were cut short to make space for longer fight sequences. I did read the manga, but it was a long time ago, so I don't really remember what could have been cut out. But nevertheless, they say that episode 3 was praised here because it explained things clearly, but overseas it scored lower. That shows where the priorities are. This brings me to the next point of, here we have a tweet from an actual Japanese person on Twitter. And they say that episode 4 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 has apparently been rated a 9.8 out of 10. Episode 3, which was highly praised in Japan for explaining the rules of the death return the culling games in an anime original format that was easy for anime fans to understand. Right, so episode 3 was more of a talking and explanation based episode, and it was an anime original episode where the author or the mangaka of Jujutsu Kaisen explained that sometimes the anime will make its own changes in order for the anime audience to explain it better. But as we see, since there was no fighting or no action, it's only a 7.7. So it really shows where the priorities are. And this is IMDb, so I think this is just the Western rating. Here we see someone saying that JJK's international fan base are mostly TikTok idiots who don't care about the plot. That's what I'm saying. If an episode gets a high rating, then it's only because there was a fight. They could care less about plot, writing, development. They do this for every anime. And this is where I have to disagree, because I think people are putting themselves on a pedestal. I also agree about the performative side of anime, and I do think that a lot of it is mainly just for popularity. So if we look at an anime like Re:Zero, this would be the exact opposite, because Re:Zero has very high rated episodes. Even the slower bits where it's more character development, character writing, world development, world building, whatever, I would have to disagree with this portion specifically. And I think people are getting on their high horse a little too much, saying that they're different from everyone. It's probably because you can't understand the important scenes, pictures, and detailed descriptions. Japanese fans are well acquainted with the personalities and behaviors. Although the flow is the same, important small details have been altered and deteriorated. And I think one more funny thing just to throw in there, this is the episode where that famous Toji scene from the manga has finally been animated, which is this one right here. And people have been hyping this up, I guess, for this exact scene. And now that it's animated, all these, I guess, TikTok anime merchants, you could call them, which is, I guess, the direct problem with this entire controversy, they're all setting it as their profile pictures now, which I think is funny. Moving on to something more lighthearted, we have Black Ops 2 versus Black Ops 7 ballistic comparison, and it's just to show the complete difference in the two games and two weapons. The maps are, I think they're overall fine, but the guns, there really is a big difference between these two. I think the top has a lot more life to it, a lot more character, texture quality, everything like that. You can tell they really put a lot of effort into it, the different shading on it. Meanwhile, the bottom kind of just looks like plastic. I thought it was just fun to share almost the lack of passion in COD nowadays, which is a real shame because I still play COD and I love COD, and it sucks to see that they don't put as much time or love into it as they used to. Next, we have an update on the Lakari situation. If you didn't know, watch my previous video. But the gist of it is that he was caught with a CP link on his notepad during the stream. He's finally made a response, and let's just skim through it real quick. During my last stream, I opened a notepad, revealed a link. I decided to keep streaming in an effort to downplay the severity. It was a mistake and apologize. I'm taking real steps to change my ways. I've admitted myself into a addiction recovery program that will last 30 days. During this time, I'll be able to work out there. I will be on an indefinite hiatus so I can focus on recovery. So this is a wild statement because he's acting like he was just caught watching, which isn't even that big of a thing nowadays, if you remember like the PewDiePie incident from a very long time ago. But he's acting like it's casual, as if it wasn't literal cheese pizza. So I don't know what this guy's thinking. I don't know if his ban is permanent because he did get banned, but let's just move on. If you guys don't know what Chegg is, Chegg was one of the original homework helpers, I guess, where it was a subscription-based service and you could ask questions for, I guess, basically any subject. But now that AI has been introduced and has been dominating basically every field, it has actually bankrupt Chegg. July 2022, July 2021, it was at its peak. And that's basically when the introduction of this specific type of AI was introduced, and it's just been going downhill ever since, lower than when it was in 2014. So next we have the CC and Kingsman situation following the 40K Marvel Rivals tournament, and we see more and more of her getting dropped from more and more of her sponsors, which is, I think it's a nice thing to see, and you can see that justice is truly being served. So good on the Marvel Rivals community for once. And now we're on to our first video where they showcase the new Fable gameplay. And people are actually criticizing this as it has that typical Unreal Engine 5 look, such as Expedition 33 had. As you can see here, Expedition 33 looks very similar. But I don't think this is a bad thing, because maybe for the Fable series specifically, because they had a unique art style prior to their newer games. But I still don't think as a step going forward that this is bad for games, because it's not artificial intelligence, it's just an engine. And I think if developers truly put their heart and soul into these games like they did Expedition 33, the games can still be good. And similar to this, we see that Jinxie and Tfue have actually made a statement on Expedition 33. And I think this is a pretty idiotic take because neither of them have even played it or seen it. And it was really popular and it was a really good game. So I don't like it when these streamers speak on stuff with no prior knowledge to the subject at all. And finally, we have the Glambot drama. If you don't know, this guy, Cole something, was inquired about renting his Glambot for a wedding shoot where he was very rude and he asked for 300K for it. However, it turns out that it actually costs 25K for the basic package. And if you just want to rent it out, it starts at $3,000. And yeah, that's all for today, guys. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment. Maybe send me an email so I can react to whatever you guys want me to. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.